Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to lecture number 5. In this lecture, we will be more focusing towards product characteristics. So, the content of this lecture will be developing successful product. Everybody wants to develop a product which is very successful. Now, the question comes is, what are the attributes? So, that is what we will try to cover in this lecture. So, developing a successful product, and next, how do you evaluate, or what are the attributes for a successful product, and then key factor for successful products, and then finally we will try to see the product characteristics. So, before developing a product, first what we are supposed to do is we have to do something called as empathy study. In empathy study, what happens, we go to the site, or we go and understand what the customer wants, and then we try to live along with the customer, or we get into the customer's shoe and look at the problem from the customer's point of view, and then we start looking forward for what are the possible requirements. So, when we have to do that, what we do is, before we talk to the customer, and then we try to evaluate their needs. So, a successful enterprise in business world constantly percolates in the state of innovation in terms of product manufactured, frequently introducing new products, or modifying and improving the existing product as desired by the customer. So, 10 years before, when the mobile phone came into the market, the customer's requirement was, how do I communicate? That was the only requirement. And later, slowly what has happened, people started demanding more features. The first set of demands were, can there be a clock in it? Can there be an alarm in it? So, can there be an SMS in it? Can I have a calculator in it? So, these were all people started demanding one after the other after the other. And then, as I said, in the S technology curve, there was a paradigm shift from a normal phone to a smartphone. When the smartphone again started demanding camera, then video, then SMS, then so many other things. So, what a successful company does is, or a company which makes successful product does is, they try to go to the customer, understand what their demands, and customers' demands is never constant, it keeps on changing. So, a company should always go to the customer, ask their demands, and try to improvise their own product such that they meet the customer demand. So, this is what I said, a successful enterprise in the business would constantly percolate into the state of innovation in terms of product manufacturing, frequently introducing new products. The new products can be a paradigm shift, or generally it is, what they do is, it is only a delta X improvement. They modify and improve the existing product as desired by the customer. The overall process of conceptualizing a product and design, producing and selling it, is known by the generalized and comprehensive process called as product development. When you talk about a product development, it is not that the design alone, it is also how do you produce, how do you sell it, is generally packaged and put in the definition of product development. So, the product development information, there are some key in new product development. So, they are nothing but what people want. Next, what feature of the product are considered essential. So, there is a big difference between essential and desired. You should talk to the customer, understand what are the essential things and what are the desirable things. For example, in a dark place, a light is essential, a blue light is desired. So, essential is one quality, desired, if it is there, it is okay. If it is not there, that does not mean that the product is going to is not going to have a big impact. So, that is what it is. What features of the product are considered essential? So, now it is very clear, when you write the requirements of the customer, you will try to classify it as essential features and desired features. So, essential features is must. Desire, if it is there, it is appreciated. So, then what price they pay for it? For example, I would like to have a Rolls Royce car and pay a price worth of Maruti 800, which is never accepted, because you should understand there are more number of features, right. So, that is what it is, what features they pay for, and they will not pay for, many cases they will not pay for desired feature, but they would like to have it. What features are desirable but can be reduced for a lower price? So, the other thing what you should understand is, today when you try to develop a new product, you should have it in mind, you can't develop a product for a wide spectrum of people. You try to classify the people into several small groups and try to take one group. For that group, you try to make a solution or a product and then try to sell it at that group alone. And why not? Why should I make it more focused? Because if you make it as a wide spectrum product, then your product will have more number of desired features for which people will not pay money. So, it is better use desired features, make it more focused towards the spectrum of customers and try to develop product. So, that is what we have said. What features are desirable but can be reduced for a lower price? I have 1000 rupees, I want to buy a product worth of 1000 rupees. If I start adding all these desired features, it goes to 1500. So, now I try to look at what all features I can cut down and make the product for this 1000 rupees. Okay. So, then you should also understand what is the current and the potential competitors for your product. This is very, very important. If you do not understand who your competitors are, then you will not be able to make successful product. So, you should understand today X is the competitor for you, tomorrow there can be Y also coming into the market. For example, in automobile, Ford was the only big company which was there for a long time, Ford, Daimler, Chrysler, all these things. Hyundai just came into in between, Maruti came in between. So, now you see when in 1970s Ambassador never thought that there will be a company called Maruti which is there in India, but later down in 1980s and 90s Maruti started dictating the market. So, you should understand who are your current and you should understand who are your potential competitors going to be, and likely changes in the market size. Today there is no product which is going to be for lifelong. So, I develop a product today for the next 20 years, this is the product going to dictate. It is not going to be like that. The product requirements are going to change, the market size can enhance or come down. The old phone which was punch type Nokia phone, today there is market size is almost negligible. People have all moved towards smartphones. So, you should also understand the market can shrink, the market can expand. So, these are some of the key points which you should always keep in your mind before developing new products, or when you develop new products, these are the informations which you have to note down. Before a successful product can be developed, someone has to come up with or develop an idea for conceptualizing it. So, the attributes for a successful product development is: 1 is cost, 2 is value, 3 is time, and 4 is technological know-how. When we talk about cost, you should understand what is the cost the product is going to incur from the developing stage and then to the producing stage. What is the total cost involved? For example, if you look at big factories like tire manufacturing companies, they invest 10,000 crores. So, this 10,000 crores is the cost which is involved, and they would try to have this as one of the big parameter and see when will they get back this 10,000. So, who are their customers, how are they going to sell it, and when do they come with a break even, and all those things will come into that. Cost. So, this cost includes cost of both producing and developing. Next is value, the quality of the product. I buy a product, and today what we expect is the quality. Quality can be reliability, repeatability, endurance, whatever it is. So, the quality of the product is another big attribute for a successful product. And by the way, nobody is going to pay money for a quality. So, if somebody comes and says, here is a quality product, pay 10 rupees more, and here is another product which is okay, but there is no quality in it, it is 5 rupees, nobody is going to accept it. So, quality has to be integrated part of a product which is getting developed. So, the value is in terms of quality, people always look forward. Time. Time is very, very important. So, you have identified a customer's voice, and now you should understand how quickly you address those voice, their demands, their requirements. So, time is very important. Time, which what we are talking about is from the time of understanding customer's voice, you go back to your desk, start working on various concepts, freezing those concepts, doing an engineering design, producing a prototype, getting back to the customer, showing to it, getting it cleared, and then coming back and start freezing the design and producing it in bulk is called as the time here what we talk. From accessing the market need to product sales is what we are talking about here. This today, earlier it was talked in terms of decades, then it came down to years, now we talk about in months, and it's not very far off, we start talking about days. This is not very far off. So, there are so many companies which are there, so many startups which are there. So, all those people are trying to identify customers' voice, and then they might be a time constraint. Within 24 days, please produce a product and release into the market. Maybe that, because technology is so matured, all they have to do is identify customers' voice and then start doing it. The final is technical know-how. The actual procedure to follow is the technical know-how. So, this is one of the attributes. So, suppose by hook or crook you make a prototype and the customer has accepted your prototype. He has said, wonderful, let us freeze it here. Now, if you go back to him and say, I do not know how to produce it in bulk, I can produce 2 piece or 3 piece or 10 piece. So, then that is also a big attribute. So, technical know-how is nothing but the actual procedure to be followed in so that you can produce in bulk and meet out the customer's requirement. So, the attributes for a successful product are costing, value, time, and technology know-how. And technology know-how varies with respect to batch size, varies with respect to cost, varies with respect to time. For example, plastic parts quickly come into the market. Why? The number of processing steps are less and it is very economical. Okay. So, these are some of the attributes. So, a product that sells well and makes a healthy profit needs to have all these 4 attributes. What are the key factors for a successful product? One thing is distinctness. So, distinctness is provide excellent value for the money spent and enhance quality perceived. So, distinctiveness, I pay X rupees, I get a product, and this product is distinct from all other in terms of performance. So, this is what is distinctiveness. Next is customer focus and market orientation. So, it is to develop an intensive understanding of the trait of the market. So, that is very, very important, understanding the trait of the market. Then recognizing the competition is very, very important. This is the second key factor. The third key factor is the preparedness. How well are you prepared to take the competition? How well can you develop a product? What is the know-how you have about this particular design so that you can quickly go reach out to the customers. So, preparedness is work preceding actual product design is critical in determining if a product will be successful. So, preparedness is to understand more of customer, understand more of technology and get ready for solving it. So, work preceding actual product design is critical in determining if a product will be a success. Next is sharp and early product definition. So, here what we are trying to say is an outline of the concept and the benefit to be provided has to be very clearly written. Then a list of product attributes and features ranking in the order of essential and desirable is very, very important. So, that is what is early product definition. And sharp is you have to make it very clear, that is what we mean sharp. Then execution of the activities. So, you have identified essential and desire, now you have to understand how step by step you are supposed to go towards the solution. For example, you can have a team, right, that is what the product development team that succeed to a better job across activities identifies under homework and market orientation. So, what this point means is they have to go to the market, understand the needs and then start assigning the activities and then executing it. The team does not skip the market study and undertake a trail sell. So, market study is very important. The organizational behavior. So, organizational behavior means I have said earlier a product development team should be constituted. So, who are all going to be the members of the product development team? Research and development, engineering design. What is engineering design? So, he does simulation and he tries to freeze the design in terms of dimensions and tolerance or whatever, tolerance, texture, etc. Okay. So, then it is production. So, how do we produce? Then quality. See, today there is also a big challenge. If I try to produce a part and if I do not know to evaluate or assess that part what I have manufactured. For example, if I try to make a feature, a micro feature of 1 micron and I have done it over 10 centimeter cross 10 centimeter plate for hydrophobic activities or hydrophobicity. The biggest challenge is, can I measure what I have produced in one shot? It is very difficult. What we do is, we try to take several patches of 10 microns, use a characterization tool, measure the deviation and later stitch the image and then see what is it. So, quality is also very important. What I produce, if I cannot measure the quality. For example, I say I produce a soft, very soft surface. The texture what is there on top of the product is as soft as a baby's skin. So, now the biggest challenge is how do I characterize a baby's skin, right. So, quality is also very important. Quality is a very difficult word to even define. Then sales. So, all of them will be part of a product development team and start looking into the customer's voice. The project selection is very, very, very important. The involvement in multiple projects scatters valuable resources among many candidates project. So, however, not all projects are likely to materialize. So, what is that is, see, when you start developing a product, you can't say I have listened to one group of customers and here is an idea, I will produce only one product. And when you say that producing only one product, there is a possibility or there is an uncertainty that will be successful. So, what are you supposed to do is, you are supposed to go to the market, understand customer voice of several segments. For example, one in terms of college going kids, one in terms of babies, one in terms of housewives, one in terms of retired people or aged people. So, what happens is, you have now clustered them and you would look at each cluster's voice, completely different requirements will be there, and then you will come back to your company, start discussing with your team, and then you will try to choose a product wherein which you have an expertise and you see a foreseeing success. So, that is what it is. Okay. So, if you start working on all these projects, like one I said in college going, one in babies, another one in housewives, the other one in senior citizens. So, if you start working on all the four, your time resources are limited. So, it is very difficult. So, what you have to do is you have to choose a project where you can be very, very successful, or choose a project where you can make a profit. Project selection is very, very important. So, I have in IIT Kanpur, what happens is we have at the beginning of every semester, we ask the students to choose the course. The biggest problem is the students will always choosing the course. So, certain students will choose the course which are grade friendly, certain students register a course which are job oriented, certain students register for a course wherein which their knowledge can be enhanced in one particular domain. So, choosing a course and then excelling is a big challenge. So, in the same way, project selection is also very important to make a product successful. Telling the world that you have a good product. So, this is also very, very important. So, you legitimately promotion of the product is very important. Then launching new products with appropriate forums and adequate the allocation of the resources for marketing is very, very important. So, here let us take a simple example, and here I take an educational institute as an example. So, say for example, if there is a institute is there, Institute X. So, the Institute X, who are the customers? Customers are students. So, and when do they come? They come all in July every year. Okay. So, for them, so what they do is they, let us take class 12 students. Okay. So, the students in July of every year, these class 12 students have their board exam. Okay. In March, April, they have their board exam, and then what they do is after this board exam is over, they try to choose which course to take or which institute to go. So, the starting date is July, their ending date of end semester exams or board exams are going to be April. So, naturally a student cannot make a choice in March or April. So, what he does looking for a future either in the month of January or in the month of February, and decide which institute to do higher studies or to go for college. So, to study in July, when does he make a decision? He makes a decision in January and February. So, if at all an institute has to make advertisements, enough of advertisements, they are supposed to invest money about their institute in the area of sales and marketing, whatever it is, during the month of January and February, not in March, April, May, June. Because if you miss out, because the student has already made a choice. So, here you have to decide what is your product, where to pitch in, what time to pitch in, what are the resources to be allocated, such that it can convert this into a customer. So, that is what we say. Launching of new products. Here I have taken an example of education institutions. If you try to look at an automobile, what happens is they generally try to launch, or you take a movie, generally they try to launch during Diwali and Holi, whatever it is. So, launching the new product with appropriate forum and adequate allocation of resources in advertisement, that is what is marketing here. So, legitimate promotion of the product is must. Today, if you do not promote your product, people will not be able to come, recognize and buy your product. So, there is a need to blow your own trumpet at the appropriate time to make a successful product. The other factors are, the factors listed have unexpected effect on the success of a new product is order of entry, innovativeness and the nature of benefits. So, these are some of the other factors which are involved, key factors for a successful product. A business simply cannot introduce a product and on the basis of price advantage alone expect a successful. That means to say, if you produce a product in a cost economical manner, it does not mean that you are going to succeed. Today you see there are so many products which are cost economical, which are not very successful, but vice versa, there are certain quality products pretty expensive, but very successful in the market. So, that is what we are trying to say. A business simply cannot introduce a product on the basis of price advantage alone to succeed a product. So, the product characteristics which are there. So, major product characteristics are going to be functional or performance aspect. So, you would like to give more importance to performance of the product. So, functional or performance, operational or ease of use. So, for example, I try to use this pen, which is a digital pen which tries to help me in teaching. I try to highlight every point here. So, ease of use. This product has to be user friendly and very easy to use. Okay. So, operational or easy to use. There are kitchen utensils where the operation is extremely difficult. So, those products do not succeed in the market. So, this is one major parameter, product characteristics is operational ease or ease of use. Next, easy for maintenance is another big thing. For example, when I buy a product, it has to be considered for maintenance. Then comes aesthetic and appearance. It is not that aesthetics is not important. Aesthetic and appearance are very, very important. Recently, I saw one of my friend has purchased a Rotomac, a roti making or roti mac. So, the entire machine looks very similar to that of a balan, and it also looks wherever there is a hot thing they have put red. So, appearance is also very, very important. So, the price to customer and the value added aspects is very, very important. So, function, I try to buy a pen, I try to buy a car, I try to buy a camera. First thing is it has to excel in its performance. In fact, when I was visiting Japan, I saw that they were trying to demonstrate their camera, saying that it is waterproof. They were just immersing the camera inside a tank and then taking it out and taking photos, water tank, and they were taking photos. So, performance aspect is very important. Next is how easy it is used today. Today this has been talked about in a very big manner, very big manner. For example, earlier days in automobile, the car key, the ignition key used to be placed at locations which were never user friendly. In fact, the earlier days in automobile, the headlight button used to be separate, the light on button used to be separate, the wiper button used to be separate, the speed of the wiper button used to be separate. So, all four were there. Today you see there are two arms levers which are given just below your steering, and wherein which you can pull up, pull down and then move left or right. Everything is getting integrated. So, that is nothing but ease of use. So, ease of maintenance aspect. So, today you see that earlier in Indian automobiles, the tire getting punctured, flattened was a big problem. Today you see the tire technology has improved. You have made tubeless tires, and if at all there is a flattening happen, they have applied now glues. These glues get hardened and they do not allow the tires to get flattened. So, this is easy from maintenance. Aesthetic and appearance is also very important, and finally, the price to customer. I give 10,000 rupees, I get a product which is worth of 10,000 rupees. So, that is what we see. These are the 5 product characteristics which are very important to make a successful product in the market. So, functional characteristics, whatever we saw, I have just put it in words. So, when the marketing possibilities have been determined, the functional scope has to be carefully analyzed and properly exemplified. The functional aspect implies the fundamental reason for product demand. The functional aspect are often multiple. That means to say a product can have multiple use. A product can have multiple functions. That is what we have said. So, functions, a single product for multiple functions. A mobile phone, an alarm can be there, a clock can be there, an app can be there, a phone can be there, a camera can be there, functional aspects, right. So, functional aspects are often multiple, and the usage of the products can be left to the customer's choice. You want to use your cell phone as a camera, go ahead, no problem. That choice has to be given to the customer. So, these are some of the functional aspects which are very important. The customer can decide the period to exploit its characteristics. As and when there is a need, I start using a camera, then I start using a video, Then I load an app called as WhatsApp and I start using it. So it has to be left to the customer. So that means to say a product whatever you have developed should have multiple functions to be catered. That's what is the bottom line. Then operational aspects. Operational aspects, I have told you, ergonomics is very important, easy to handle, easy to operate. For example, earlier days the cover of a pen we used to have screwing and unscrewing. Today it is all press fit, easy to handle. Okay. So adaptive to various operating conditions and subjected to varying degrees of skills of potential operators. So you cannot say that my product is only for educated people. The cell phone never came and said the cell phone is only for minimum qualified of engineers can be used or doctors can be used. Earlier days it was so, but today those myths are killed. So what they say is, they say whatever product you develop has to be so user friendly that anybody can use it. Okay, that is what they say. The designer's problem becomes all the more critical when you talk about this ergonomics factor. So rising trend for increasing versatility because of characteristics implies using the basic attachment and elements for building suitable combinations of specific purpose. So here what we are trying to say is, we are trying to say use of modular concept. So use of modular concept is what we are trying to talk about here. So rising trend of increasing versatility because characteristics implied using basic attachments as elements for building suitable combination of specific purpose is also operational. That means to say, I have a motor, this motor can be attached to a jar wherein which I can make juice, I can use it for as a egg beater, I can use it for mixing, I can use it for shredding or vegetable cutter. So I had a motor, so this motor should have a particular attachment such that whenever I want to switch between these 4 applications, I should be able to do immediately, instantly and very fast. And on top of it, it has to be maintenance free. That is what we are trying to talk about in this ergonomic consideration. Next is easy for maintenance. When we talk about maintenance, 2 things, durability and dependability are the 2 important factors of quality that is there. Durability is how long, it defines the length of the service life or endurance of a product under given working conditions. Okay. Say for example, you cannot take a product which is thought of to work very well in a plain condition, for example in a terrain condition where the temperatures are vary between 5 degrees to 40 degrees. So a product which works in this zone cannot be taken to a place where the temperature is from -30 degrees to -6 degrees and start using it. So what happens is, durability is always talked about in this working condition. The length of the service or the life of the product is this. So a measure of the product capability to idle or to withstand loads. For example, I buy a rubber band, I cannot expect the rubber band to lift 25 kilos. So that is what I said, withstanding loads is very important. The durability is maintenance and repair, and the required repair and the preventive maintenance required for some products is closely aligned according to quality and the design policy. So ease for maintenance, durability and dependability of the product has to be thought of. Aesthetics, though it is not must, but without it you can't live. So it's a trade off you have to do. You cannot give more emphasis to aesthetics and give less importance to function. Function is priority, aesthetics is desirable. If your product does not have an aesthetic look, you might not sell into the market. For example, in olden days, the edges of a product were all made out of had sharp corners. So the aesthetic look is make it rounded. So it gave an aesthetic look. So earlier days the chairs were all made out of wooden chairs were there. Then it became plastic. So people wanted to have still a feel of wooden in the plastic chair. So they have now in plastic chair the texture of wood is being integrated. That is only an aesthetics. If without that it is not going to affect the functionality of a chair, but with that it is going to affect the sales of the chair. So, that is what aesthetic is important, is desired, but it is not essential. You have to know how much weightage you have to give for this aesthetics. There are many products you see in market today aesthetically beautiful. Even at one point of time, America in 1970 and 80s, they gave lot of importance to aesthetics. But that was a time the Europeans and the Japanese took over the entire business. They started concentrating more on functional aspects. So, aesthetics is desired, but it is not essential. Aesthetic aspects is mainly concerned with molding and finishing of rounding of the skeletons. This mold or shape, okay, this is what I have already explained to you, so I will keep moving. In aesthetic is the governing factor in design and completely dominated it. This is essentially true for many consumer products or fashion products. Aesthetic is must, but you have to keep functional on top of it. So, when we try to draw a curve for product characteristics, I would like to draw this. So, this is aesthetics and this is functional. Okay. This is here I would write industrial design, and then here I would like to do mechanical design. Okay. So, if I do that, this is what is the consumer products. So, if you talk about function, mechanical design is very important. If you talk about aesthetics, industrial design is very important. Today all the consumer products are a combination of these two. So, you try to do at this point. So, this is the product characteristics curve. So, some aesthetic design recommendation, use of special materials either for the part of the housing or additional decorations you want, use of color, either natural color of the material or color created by the paint, created by the painting, spray or even flames can be part of aesthetics. The texture supplementing color either by appropriate treatment of a given surface or coating. These are some of the recommendations which I told. This I gave you a simple example of a wooden chair, keep that in mind. Some more recommendations, sharp edges we have discussed, and then these things we have covered. So, packaging is also part of aesthetics. So, packaging essentially of a small item, novelty and of packaging are often conveyed in the minds of a customer. So, here what I mean to say is the color also many a times gets written. I am always carried away if somebody wears a pink pant, a green pant. I remember those students who are wearing those pant face much more rather than normal colored pant. So, the aesthetics color also tries to stay with me in the same way when you do sell a product in a mall or in a business supermarket. So, what happens is the packaging plays a very important, the packaging and the color of the packaging plays a very important role to decide the customer's choice. So, the pricing to customer is the last point. The pricing to customer is very important. The product cost ordinance its selling price and scope its market attractiveness. This does not infer the price is the sole determinant of which buyer finds about a product. Cheaper but inferior quality products tend to fall by the wayside. So, see, when you think about it, in Indian scenario, you can see lot of milk vendors having smartphones. In fact, my mason who comes and does work in my house has a mobile phone. His salary will not be very high to provide for it, but he has found out there is a business which he is going to get because of these phones. In India, 10 years back, almost all the milk vendors used to move around by bicycle. Today, this has completely changed. They have started using powered vehicles because they have found out this investment is going to give them more business. So, it is again and again I repeat, it is not the cost which plays an important role, but what value it add to the customer in his business is important. So, if you can develop a product which adds more value to the customer and he is going to make an innings out of it, they do not mind shelling out that money. So, that is what is nothing but price to customer. The price does not determine profitability, however, it is. So, again there are two things in market. So, one, you can try to sell more number of products with a less price. Then this is one strategy. The other strategy is less number of products for more price. So, you have to decide. So, here the profit margin will be less, here the profit margin will be more, is low, profit is high. So, the price does not determine the profit. So, you can choose any one strategy and then start doing it. When we talk about the pricing, the product cost is a function of both fixed price and variable price. Fixed price are generally assets, big assets, capital equipments. Variable cost is nothing but the manpower involved or the material involved in producing the price. When you look at the product characteristics, here is a graph which talks about revenue with respect to positive. That means to say I am going to make a profit, I am undergoing a loss, or I am investing more of money. In the research phase, there is an investment of money, there is no revenue made. When it is design and development including prototype, you further invest money, but the amount of money which is invested here is not so high, because today we have moved to digital world. So, there are a lot of software tools which come in a big way which can help in accelerating the design and development till the prototyping stage. Once the prototype is made, customer has agreed, then starts the launching of the product, tooling, operation research comes here. So, here it is more of capital intensive market. So, you try to spend more money in establishing a factory. Then you start producing. So, when you start producing, these are almost the fixed cost, and here when you start producing, more amount of material is involved, more amount of manpower is involved. So, you invest more money, and then what happens is from here on there is a slow increase. So, this is the state where in which there is a shift going to happen. From the negative side, you are going to move towards the profit side. So, after a period of time, you can see this bell curve crosses the zero state and then it starts making profit. So, when it starts selling in a big way, sales, it is going to make profit. So, this here, does it mean that there is no sale? No, here also there is a sale going on, but it is not so high, the numbers become very large. Today, this one is called, if you remember back, the time which is involved in the project. So, this time, understanding customer's voice, producing product and making profit cannot be infinity. It has to be as small as possible, but you have to legitimately spend enough time in each stage and then make a sales progress about it. So, this time, and this is the cost. So, this time has to be small, this cost has to be small, so that you can make a profit out of it. So, this graph is very, very important for you to understand. So, today task for the students is, you will try to take product 1, product 2, both are for the same customer. You will try to understand what is the strategy for this product to give it to the customer and what is the strategy for this product to give it to the customer. So, here what we are talking is in terms of a consumer product, a product whatever is, the product should be a consumer product. So, that means to say it can be a soap, it can be a toothpaste, it can be a food item, whatever it is. Choose it, and then this is given to the same customer, product A and product B, and when you try to choose this product, choose product A means product 1 and 2 should be a similar product. For example, you choose a product here as toothpaste, product 2 also should be another toothpaste, and try to realize how do these companies try to attract the customers and how do the customers make a choice in these two products. So, I repeat, the product can be anything, but product 1 and product 2 should be a similar product. For example, soap, you take soap, you take soap. There can be a X soap here, Y soap here. How does the X soap convince the customer to buy his product? How does Y do, and how do they succeed or how do they fail? Please try to understand, because if you do this exercise, you can choose anything of your choice. A soap can be what you use daily, toothpaste can be what you use daily, food items, or you go to the market and you say 2 soaps are put in front of you. How do you choose which soap will suit you? Is it going to be the cost? Is it going to be the advertisement? Is it going to be the color? Is it going to be the fragments? And is it going to be the performance, cost to performance? I buy this soap, it will withstand for 2 months, cost to performance. So, what are you going to look at it? So, this is an exercise which you will do it for yourself and try to understand and appreciate how do you make a choice of choosing the product. Thank you very much.